There is no amount you'll ever invest in your craft that will not come back to you. To even do small things like respond to emails on time. But let me tell you something, the way that you show up is a testimony to the belief you have in yourself. Every time you're playing small, life will always still present you with a small girl, small boy kind of jobs. The first thing to building a successful brand is deciding that you're the best and you show up as it. So if you're gonna make the things you're working on matter globally, for this video, I'm going to provide maybe 6 to 7 tips that can help you put yourself ahead in this industry. Hi guys, how are you? I am so happy to be back here and to connect with you guys again. And I'm glad that you tuned in today because I'm going to be answering a question that I have had in so many different words, but meaning the same thing. And also it's been asked by people at different levels of their crafts. I've received this question from students in the class, from peers in the industry, from colleagues, from mentees, from self-employed people, for people in formal employment trying to get into self-employment, for people in the gig economy at different levels. I've had this question come back to me in different circles many times through a long period of time. Today, I'm going to be answering that question in a video that I'm going to title, How to Hack the Freelance Industry in Uganda. So this video is for you if one, you're creative, you're a freelance person, you're in formal employment but have a side business, you're trying to get into the gig economy or you're already there, someone who's into business, doesn't matter if you're selling products or services, these tips are going to help you find a way of getting ahead of a curve in the freelance economy. So, number one is you don't need more stuff. You don't need more equipment. You don't need more followers. You don't need more social media platforms. What you have is already enough. So first things first, pause. Pause, go back to the drawing board, and then let's get into the things that I'm going to talk about. Because what you need is to strategize and also get a few tips, intentional tips that are actually going to help you on this journey with the stuff that you already have, with the social media platforms that you already have, with the equipment that you already have. So let's start from there, right? The first thing that you're going to do is seek knowledge, acquire knowledge. Pause on being present every day, on showing up every day, on putting the work out there every day. Yes, it's important, but over a period of time, you might find that you start to sound shallow or to spread out thin. So take some time off to educate yourself, to seek knowledge, to dig deep and do the research. I'm going to be using an example of a photographer for this video, but feel free to replace photographer with whatever suits your context in what your craft is, right? So as a photographer, for example, it means that I'm going to take time to research about my clients, my dream clients or my target clients, whether they've already reached out to me or they're yet to reach out to me and I'm looking forward to working with them one day. The one thing that you're going to certainly do is do research about them. What kind of work do they do? Go to their website. How does their website look like? What kind of pictures are they interested in? Have they hired photographers before? Which photographers did they hire? Are you able to access the social media handles of those photographers, maybe their Instagram or websites, and see what kind of images are those photographers taking? How are they captioning their images? Research is your best friend. I usually tell guys who come to my storytelling trainings that you need to read up on the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. You need to read up on them, especially if you're in the documentary photography industry, but also whatever craft you're in, you'll be surprised how much the SDGs inform your industry, especially if you have a dream of going from local, national to global. If you're going to make the things you're working on matter globally, you'll have to do some research on the SDGs. So in my case as a photographer, if I want to work with a particular organization that is working with, let's say, with children or with refugees or women, I'm going to go and read about what kind of SDGs are these people trying to address. Because like it or not, every establishment that is out there, no, with or without their knowledge, they are feeding into either the National Development Plan of Uganda or the global SDGs. Somehow, somewhere, they're feeding into those things. Now, when you figure out which ones your clients are feeding into, you're going to become very dangerous because when you meet your client for a client meeting, it's going to sound like you understand their vision even deeper than they do. and it will sound like you have the words to translate what they feel on the inside, but they do not have the words to put it outside. And you'll be able to show them how what they're doing locally can matter nationally and also globally. So do the education. When you go for that client meeting, blow your client's mind. Strip them off your feet with how much you understand their dream, and they'll have no option but to truly trust you as an expert. That means that you might even fail in the process of executing. But the thing is, once the client already trusts you as an expert, they become comfortable and they rest, and that allows you the creative freedom to exercise your expertise even if you're learning on the go. The first thing you need to do is to make your client trust that you're the expert and that you understand their vision, their brand, their need better than anyone else. That happens when you inform yourself, educate yourself, and fill yourself up with knowledge. Point number 2 is build trust with your brand. And as you can see, point number 2 somehow feeds into point number 1. When you are knowledgeable about the kind of work that your clients are interested in, the kind of topics, the kind of challenges they're trying to address, and you're able to map them out locally, nationally, and globally. When you're able to do that now, you've already built one level of trust, which is you are the expert, right? So now we move on to point number 2, which is building trust. But now on top of having the knowledge, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. If people cannot depend on you, if people cannot see you as reliable and count on you to actually do what you said you're going to do, it's going to become very hard for them to still give you their work or trust you with their brand. So while knowledge will get you into the room and get you the job, what is going to make the client come back is your brand being a trusted brand. That means in branding yourself, you need to find a way of making sure that you brand yourself as someone who's reliable, who is dependable, and who's trustworthy. That means that you're reliable to even do small things like respond to emails on time, send the invoice that you said you're going to send. You're responsible and reliable enough to be able to deliver on the work that you said you're going to deliver on. But also one thing that I see a lot of creatives make a mistake on is integrity and respect for privacy. That you're going to be reliable enough for someone to trust that if they call you for a shoot and you do the work that you're supposed to do, or even if it's, let's say you're a baker and you're baking cakes, right? That even if you're baking cakes, if someone can just, there are those unsaid rules that rotate around trust. Someone can trust that I'm not going to see my cake on Instagram before my child enjoys it, before our guests enjoy it at our wedding. There's already pictures of it on Instagram. So there's that level of trust also that comes down to respect for privacy and also counting on your integrity. Your clients should be able to count on your integrity, on your respect for privacy, but also on your reliability to show up, to do what you said you do, to respond on time. So build trust, build trust, build trust. As you build your brand, build it as one that can be trusted in every way, to deliver, to be on time, to have integrity, to respect privacy. Okay? Point number 3 is you look the part. And in looking the part, you're also actually building trust. So you see how these things actually feed into each other, right? From building trust to you looking the part. And when you look the part, you're also actually building trust in turn. In most cases, when people are self-employed, because there's no one telling you, oh, you need to dress like this. Oh, this is the uniform for your business. This is a uniform for going on this gig. You don't have those kinds of rules because you're your own boss and you decide what you want to wear. And sometimes it's just more comfortable to show up in, the things we love to show up in, the clothes you feel comfortable in, like loungewear. But let me tell you something, the way that you show up is a testimony to the belief you have in yourself in regards to being either present at that table or that space. So 2 things I want you to take away from here is 1, you do belong in that room. You belong on that table. You have every right and everything necessary in you to be on that table and not to be a silent part of that table, to have a voice at that table. And one of the first things that shows that you have value to bring to that table. You have a contribution to make in that room. One of the things that usually shows that is the way you show up in that room, the way you show up at that table. If you show up looking timid, looking different, there's certain spaces, opportunities, people that will not invite you to them because of the way you're presenting yourself. The way you present yourself puts yourself on a certain frequency. Each of these frequencies has different qualities of opportunities. By qualities, I mean in terms of quality, like levels. So each of these frequencies has different levels of opportunities, different levels of people. So the people you attract, opportunities you attract are dependent on which frequency you're operating on. And the frequency you're operating on has a lot to do with the way you're showing up. So are you showing up as one that is on frequency 1, frequency 2, 3, 4, 5? That's up to you. So please dress apart. Dress like the rooms you want to be in. Dress like the tables you want to sit at. The value that you have on the inside, show it in the way you present yourself. And then point number 4 is one that is a favorite for me, which is invest in your toys. Hear me out. Yes, good stuff could be expensive. So in your situation, let's say if you're a photographer or whether you're in cake business, whatever it is, there's certain equipment that is necessary to make that craft easier, to help you produce more quality work and things like that, right? So for example, for me as a photographer, it is cameras, it could be a laptop, it could be a good phone, a good watch, whatever it is that is a toy stroke, a tool available for you to advance your craft. Pay the price and invest in it. It really does pay off so much. Sometimes you have the skill. Matter of fact, it is a gift that you just have from God, right? But then the space in which you are, space can also be a tool for your craft, right? For example, let's say if you're someone who bakes or you're trying to do a restaurant, a coffee shop, the space, the way your space looks, your space becomes a tool because the way it looks matters the kind of person you're going to invite into that space. So invest in your tools because even by the mere fact of getting money, getting $2,000, $3,000 and buying a piece of equipment because you're investing in your craft communicates something spiritually and also professionally to the creative force in this world that this person is ready for this kind of opportunity. Each time you play small in terms of investing in your craft, life also plays small with you because it realizes, oh, this person is not ready to pay the price for this level of opportunity, for this level of work, right? Every time you pay the price to invest in a certain level of quality in terms of production of your work, you're putting a message out into creation that you're ready for the big girl jobs or the big boy jobs. Every time you're playing small, life will always still present you with a small girl, small boy kind of jobs. Every time you say, I'm ready to play in the big league and you pay the price for it, there is no amount you'll ever invest in your craft that will not come back to you. I'm telling you this out of experience and from a spiritual perspective. This is something we can delve into deeper in a different video. But believe me from today and take it from this video that close your eyes and invest in your craft with the best. Get the best equipment. Get the best choice there is. Besides, you deserve them because you're a child of God and you already established yourself as an expert. Actually, sometimes it's a very good shortcut. One of the shortcuts to branding yourself as an expert is deciding to invest in the best toys in your craft. What you're telling the world is, I am an expert, I am the best in this field, and I have the best equipment, and I'm showing up as the best. The first thing to building a successful brand is deciding that you're the best and you show up as it. And then finally, which is the last tip for me, and one that is a conversation that I feel has not been had enough in the freelance industry, is financial discipline. There's a tendency to live in survival mode because the way the freelance industry is set up is that you're not necessarily on a clockwork kind of payment system where there is money coming in for you at a regular interval of, let's say, every 25th of the month, you're receiving this amount of money. It's one of those things whereby this month is different from next month and the money is coming at irregular intervals, not specific intervals, right? So in that kind of situation, I implore you to find ways of coming up with a system that works for your money. Because the one sure thing that is going to happen if you don't have a system for your money is that that money is going to die. It's going to fail. It's going to fail because you will not know how to grow it. You'll not know how much of it is going out and how much of it is going in. So find a basic financial system for your money. In your money should have a vision. If you're Christian and you believe in tithe, then your structure could look like tithe, charity, savings, investment, and then expenditure. In all that you do, you don't even need to have a lot of money coming through to have a system. Even if you're having 100,000 coming through every month, if you have a system for that money, you are much better than someone who's receiving 1,000,000 shillings per month without a system for their money, because it's going to fail. And one thing that happens when you create a system for your money is you're able to actually build your savings and create investments, which will then grow your money. And when your money grows, one thing it does is that it creates for you a financial muscle and power that gives you the confidence to know which jobs to say yes to, which jobs to say no to. And when you get to that level, you start operating from a place of authenticity as opposed to operating from a place of desperation. You don't take on jobs because, oh my God, I really, really must do this job. I need it. You start doing work because it aligns with your efforts. It aligns with your core values and principles of who you are. And when that happens, you begin operating from a place of abundance, a place of gifting. It looks like you're doing so little and getting paid so much, but the only difference is you have actually created a system for your money that has created a financial muscle for you that is giving you the confidence to choose things authentically. A poor man struggles to be authentic and faithful. So find ways to grow your finances. I hope this was helpful to you in one way or the other. And if there's any of these points that you'd love for us to go deep into a conversation specifically or elaborate on, I'll be very happy to do a video on that. This was the kind of video that just sorts of points at all several things, but if there's anything that you want us to delve into, I'll be happy to do that. Thank you for tuning in today and see you next time. Bye.